welcome back to ShotBlast with your boy HP. I say welcome back because today is the second part of our two-parter. If you remember last time, we created one new shot for Trilby Dogtooth versus the Snapper Jap, and today we are creating the one immediately after. So here's old Doggers on a rooftop looking pretty cool. I'm sure you're getting sick of seeing this again and again. I know I am. And here is the son of a gun in question. This is the shot we did last time, and it was honestly a real pain in the ass. It took a lot more work than I anticipated. It's always the ones that you think are going to be easy. They're deceptively complex, but we have it. It is done. It's trapped in our timeline forever. And moving on, today we're going to be doing this shot here, which is Dogtooth looking into the alleyway below. And the alleyway looks a little bit weird because it's actually a 3D render. Not a finished 3D render. We're going to do a lot of work to kind of bring it to life. And I'll talk a little bit more about the blend of 2D and 3D later on. But for the time being, we're going to worry about our 2D assets. And I'll open up Photoshop and draw the roof that Dogtooth is stood upon here, with a nice bit of parallax to make sure it looks like it's nearer the foreground. So let's open up Photoshop now and get started. And there we have it. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. 'Tis a simple little thing, but it gets the job done. I'm imagining that when we have the other main background done, I'll probably need to go back and tweak this one. So I've kept the file, the editable Photoshop file. It's always a good idea to do that so you can go back and, I don't know, I'll need to maybe pump up the contrast, darken it, a little something like that. But now we're going to move on to this little fella down here, and well, we're going to animate him, so it's time to open up Toon Boom. Alright, he is looking pretty good, pretty cute. That can is pretty lumpy looking, pretty off-model season 1 of The Simpsons lumpy looking, but I can work with that, that's fine. As you can see, we went to put him all the way inside the can, so his little butt isn't sticking out. I just figure the less we show of the creature early on, the better. Also, this little H here is this little H right here is because I like to make a note of when I'm going to hold on a frame. So we're going to hold on that frame. I can delete that letter H. And the reason we're holding is because I thought we could put the tail on the layer below, see, and then we can have that tail wobbling around, kind of wiggling about independently, and actually reuse that can animation, have it roll back and forward. Anyway, we're only going to see it from the distance, so I think that will suffice. Time now to do our color separations in green and then get this thing colored. Let's do it. And we have our beastie, and I think he looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'll take that. The only thing I think I do differently is maybe the lines could have been a little bit thicker given how far he is away from the camera, but you know what? It's not supposed to be super clear what we're looking at, and I think that works fine. The only other change I made is that inside the animation, let's open it up here, you can now see we have a drop shadow, and I didn't show you me making that. It was really, really quick and easy. All I did was copy the animation, you can probably guess, and put it inside a graphic and skew it a little bit. There it is, and make it black. That's all we did, and we get a pretty effective drop shadow. It needs to be blurred and the whole thing needs to be a little bit darker to merge with our background, but we won't get to that yet because we're not going to work on our background. We're going to stay in animation land and work on old Dogtooth. So I'll get ahead and do the animation for him as well as the shading separation. So let's get into that now. Here he is. It's a little bit awkward with the way that the leg sticks out there. It's not great, but you know what? He's from behind. He's mostly under the cover of darkness. I think we'll be able to get away with it. And it's also getting very, very late in the day, so I'm not going to redo it. There's no need. I'm just going to keep on trucking. So it's time to get him colored in now, get him shaded, and get him dropped in that scene. There's the lad. I'm happy with that, happy enough to move on, but before I get onto the background, I'm gonna go get some sleep because it's the end of a very long day for me, but you don't get that chance. You don't get a chance to unwind, you don't get a break. This is ShotBlast, baby. It's a non-stop roller coaster of action and mayhem and... Oh, what a great sleep. And welcome back, everybody, to our 3D background. Woo! And welcome to Blender. Blender is a 3D application. It also does 2D. Blender is free to use. Anybody can use Blender. So I thought, hey, I'm anybody. Why don't I use Blender? Once I realized that about half of the cartoon was going to be involving this alleyway, I thought I could save myself a lot of time by actually recreating the environment in 3D, and as you can see here from the before and after images, by painting over them in Photoshop, we could kind of match the painterly look of the rest of the cartoon, which was done with the traditional 2D painted backgrounds by myself and Joyce. It's still early days for me in this program. I don't understand what is going on there with the puddles and why they sort of shimmer when you pull the camera back. I'm not great at modeling things, and certainly a lot does need to be touched up in Photoshop. It was never really intended for me to have the camera so high, so all of this stuff here at the back is just it's not really meant to be seen, but that's fine because we're going with a 2D render. We can touch all of that up, so let's get to our camera that we've set up and we can talk about turning this into a 2D image. And here's our camera angle we already had set up because I did render that unpolished version of the background out for the animation, and I can just talk you through a little bit of my thinking before we go ahead and sort of render it out again to turn into our final image. I will be deleting this building here. We actually already have drawn this rooftop here in question. We did that as a 2D Photoshop element, and it's very undetailed anyway, so let's get rid of him. And speaking of undetailed, we got this other background over here, and I did consider modeling some detail for this rooftop, but honestly, we're only going to see it one time from above, and I figure I can get away with just drawing that detail in. I want ShotBlast to be a kind of a genuine show where I actually do the work I intend to do, even without the cameras rolling. So looking good for the cameras is not what we're trying to do on ShotBlast. We're trying to be real. These puddles down here, I'll definitely spruce them up in the finished Photoshop image, make them look a bit better. And the same goes for this very ugly corrugated metal roof here that you can tell I spent absolutely no time on. And generally we'll do color correction and things like that. So let's render this out, open it up in Photoshop, and we'll turn it into something nice. Yo, I think that looks pretty good. I am happy with that. I think the only changes I need to make now is that Dogtooth doesn't really gel with the scene. I need to bring up the blue values, darken him a bit, and definitely do the same for this can and the creature. It's way too bright. Sticks out like a sore thumb. I think the foreground rooftop element here needs to be darker to help draw the eye to the things that we want people to be looking at. And other than that, I think I'm ready to go ahead after I've made these tweaks and take a look at this in Premiere, finish our sound effects, and then finish our whole sequence, which we can take a look at. And we are officially done, which of course means unofficially I'll be playing with the timing and the color values of this shot for the next couple of weeks. But I'm heading off now, and I'm gonna drag Dogtooth away with me, but you'll see him either on my main channel or in another episode of ShotBlast here very soon. I'd like to thank you for watching this special two-parter episode of ShotBlast, and also give a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, without whom these ShotBlast episodes, and indeed this cartoon, would not be possible. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all again very soon.
Yeah.